Hey chefs, welcome back. Today I'm going to teach you how to cook eggs 3 different ways. I'm going to teach you how to do it with all equipment that you have got at home, and by the end of this video you should be able to cook brunch like a pro. You'll be cooking eggs for dinner, we call it brinner, and you will also not have to Google how to poach an eggs at 6 in the morning. So with that we are going to crack on. Okay, so we're going to start with scrambled today. I'm going to teach you how I do this at home. So nice and easy. I feel like scrambled eggs are probably the most controversial. I don't like my scrambled eggs really runny. I like them with kind of nice thick flakes, but still a bit gooey. So I'm going to teach you my way today. I'm going to crack 3 eggs into a bowl for this one. I'm using medium eggs today, but crack them in. There we go. If you do get shell when you're cracking your egg, just scoop it out with the shell. Really nice and easy. 1, 2, and 3. There we are. And then we're going to scramble these really well. So get a whisk, get in there and just really go for it. You really want to break up the yolk and the almond together to get a really lovely, silky smooth finish on this one. So those are really nice and smooth now. I'm going to add some salt into there. So a nice pinch of salt going into there, and then we'll get cooking. This is where a non-stick frying pan comes in. So you can use your non-sticks for this. I encourage you to use your non-sticks for this. I'm going to get this on to a medium to high heat. So I cook mine quite high in butter, always, and just smooth them together. So I'm going to go in to this pan with 1, 2, 3 blocks of butter. Unsalted butter. Always use unsalted butter when you're cooking, then you can be in control of the salt. And just let that melt down. I do want this to sizzle a little bit at this stage as well. Okay, so my butter is starting to sizzle a little bit. I cook my scrambled eggs quite high and quite fast, so it's literally not going to take very long at all. Turn that down ever so slightly. Eggs go in and just start to move them around. Really nice and quickly. Go. If you wanted this smoother and creamier, just at a really low temperature. Takes a lot longer though. This is pretty much ready. I'm going to stop this right now because eggs carry on cooking, and they'll carry on cooking just in the heat of this pan. So that is lovely. Really nice, really creamy, and ready to put on top of some toast with some salted butter on. That's where your salted butter comes in. So there it is. These on top. Lovely stuff. And then pop a little bit of pepper on top. We're quite big fans of chili oil on top. And then you've got scrambled eggs in about 30 seconds. So next up, we're going to have a look at poached eggs. This is probably the one I get asked the most about on classes. I think people have the most difficulty with this. And what I'm going to do today is show you the 3 tips that I do to try and get them perfect every single time. So first tip, cold eggs from the fridge. I don't normally keep my eggs in the fridge, but if I know I'm poaching them, I will keep them in there. Just helps to keep the whites nice and tight. Also, the fresher your eggs, the better they will look. They'll stop them from splitting all over your pan. I do use vinegar. It just helps to bind the egg white together. And I will do a little whisk to create a whirlpool just so they kind of join together. So let's start by cracking our eggs. I'll get my 2 bowls in front of me. Crack your egg just on the side. And then when you crack an egg, it seems ridiculous that I'm teaching you this, but it's all the little things that help. Put your egg down and just open them up. If you go from high up, they're going to crack. If you go this way, you'll crack the yolk. So there's 1, And then there's 2. There we are. And then we need to get our water on. Good sized saucepan. Bring it up to a boil first, then down to a simmer. So I'm going to put a splash of vinegar into here now. Like so. The vinegar is to help the egg coagulate. So it's going to coagulate, meaning bind together a little bit. Some chefs do it, some chefs don't. I just find it the easiest way. I'm now going to create a whirlpool with a whisk. And what that will do is it will just help any of the white that tries to split come back together again. So be vigorous. Woo. And then first egg in, second egg in, go straight on top of it. It will be fine. Don't worry. And there you go. Let them do their thing now. Let them relax, let them poach. I'm not going to give you a time frame for this. This is something that you're just going to have to watch. So when you're doing this at home, get your toast ready. Mine's already ready. It's done. Get your toast ready. Get your bacon cooking if that's what you're having with it. Just make sure everything's ready to go. Leave this as the last thing so that you're not kind of frantically going around trying to do all of these things whilst your eggs overcook on the side. If you get any of these bits at the top come up, you can very gently just scrape that out. There we go. Very gently. Just get rid of those. They might not be perfect, but as long as they hold together, you've got a decent amount of white on the outside, they will be good. And what we're looking for here is it's still not quite there yet. That white is still very runny, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to stop fiddling. Any of you that have been on a class with me before will be probably shouting at me because I'm fiddling and normally it's the other way around. Just leave it. If I was to give a time frame, a couple of minutes and then give it a check. You can do these ahead of time. So in a professional kitchen, you would poach these until they were just under, get a big cold bath, so a bowl with water and some ice in. Once they're cooked for about 2 minutes and they're very nearly done, into the cold water, let them completely cool down, and then just before service, you put them in boiling water for a minute, and then out it goes. So if you've got a dinner party and you're doing poached eggs, this is the perfect way to get that done. Let's have a little look. Let's pull one out. Nice, we're getting there. Still a lot of wiggle on that. We're not quite there yet. Pop it back in. Leave it alone. Take away any scraggly bits in there. There we are. Love it and leave it, but keep an eye on it. All right, there we have it. I think this is pretty much good to go. The white is nice and firm. The yolk is nice and runny. What I do like to do is get a bit of towel and just dry it off a little bit before I get it down onto a plate. And another. Yeah, nice jiggle on it. They will carry on cooking. So if you take them out a little bit before, don't worry, they won't be raw inside. They'll be absolutely perfect actually by the time you serve it up. Bring in the toast. And then carefully, with my asbestos hands, use a spoon, pop these onto here. And you know what we're here for. It's what we're always here for when you get a poached egg. You're here to just crack it open and get that lovely yolk pool out of there. I am going to put a little bit of salt on top. I'm going to go with a little bit of chili oil as well. Just a smidge. This is one we make in-house that we get through probably about 4 of these jars a month. And then I'm going to grab a knife and I'm just going to cut into this one just to show you. Oh, or oof. It's terrible. I apologise. Beautifully runny, really delicious, and 3 important tips to help you get your perfect poached egg. Okay, so our final egg is our omelette. So this is going to be a really lovely, silky and soft one. I'm going to put some cheese into there. I don't want it too runny, but that cheese is going to make it nice and gooey. We're going to go in with some chives. I'm going to use 2 eggs because I've got a smaller pan, so it is worth noting how many eggs you can get in your pan so you don't overflow, basically. So eggs, much like the scrambled, crack into a bowl. There we are. And again, if you do get shell, I've been quite lucky today. If you do get shell into your eggs when you're cracking them, just use the shell to just scoop it. It will catch better on the shell than it will on a spoon. Then, again, pinch of salt into there. No pepper into it. If I do put pepper, I'll go in last. And then give it another whisk. There we are. Getting our non-stick pan again here. I'm going to pop some more butter in. I'm going to cook this lower than I did my scrambled eggs. Butter again. Not quite so much this time. Just a couple. And let that melt nice and slowly for this one. We don't want any foaming or anything on this one. Okay, so my butter is nearly melted. I'm not worried that it's not overly melted. It's starting to sizzle a little bit. I'm going to turn you down just a smidge. Then get my eggs into here. And it's all about controlling temperature here, really. Controlling temperature, and we're going to give this a little shuffle around the pan, just on the sides. And you can see there, I'm just pushing the edges in. As I push the edges in, the raw egg will go out to the edges. Turn you up a little bit again. This is where you really get to know your induction hobs when you're cooking eggs. There we are, that's a bit better. It's really good to make sure that your non-stick pans are doing their job at this point. You can see you're starting to get that nice set in the middle. Don't want to go too much more than that. Just come around the edge a little bit more. You can also just give your pan a little tilt if you want to. There we are. I'm going to use cheddar on this one today. A Gruyere would be really nice into this. You can put some spinach in this, would be really good, or some cooked mushrooms. It's a really lovely lunch. I can see this is already setting quite nicely. So we're going to go with our cheese on top of this now. That's going to be lovely and salty and tangy. And also quite classic, some chopped chives for a bit of greenery, but also just a nice bit of freshness in there. You come around the edge and you can see it's still gooey, still wiggly. And then, depends how confident you're feeling in this one. I think I'm just going to go in half. I think if it was slightly bigger, I'd do the fold and the fold, but actually, wait a little bit longer for it to be a little bit more set in the middle. And give it a flip and then we're done. All right, here we go. Flip. I'm going to tilt my pan slightly and bring this just over that way. Oh, lovely. Nice. Just press it down a bit. Got that lovely gooey cheese coming out into the middle slightly. Going to cook it for a little bit longer. As I said, eggs do continue to cook, so just be very careful when you're doing it. A lot of that gooey is actually coming from the cheese itself. If you want to flip it again, just very gently, flip it back over, just to get that other side. And there you have it. I do like mine with a bit of colour on there. And then we plate, because again, this is carrying on cooking. So lift it off. I'm going to grab a plate real quick. There we are. Slide it on. And there you have it. There you have your beautiful omelette, done in mere moments. If I cut into this one, you've still got a nice soft center and the really gooey cheese in there. I've already had one of these today, but do you know what? I'm going to go in for another. It's delicious. Really lovely kick from that cheese as well. An absolute winner for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or brinner. And there we have it, eggs 3 ways. Really nice and simple, quick methods of making them, and hopefully you have learnt something today. If you have, please do like and subscribe. And if you'd like to see more, you can check out these videos here. Happy cooking!